If you walk in here thinking that your performance or the way you sing or the way you read your Bible or the way you go and do ministry is going to save you, you are wrong. How much is my life just about me? Think about your conversations. We don't even listen to people anymore. We just can't wait for us to talk again. And what you realize is most conversations are just two egos in battle. This is what Samuel Johnson wrote. He wrote this: the true measure of a man is how they treat someone who can do him absolutely no good. We just want more. And all they do is they exclude. They let their identity be based off of other people's opinions, and they give into their own self-sufficiency because they believe they can work themselves. They can have a performance that gets them in. Let me remind you, you cannot do anything that overcomes the gap created by sin. You can do nothing. If you walk in here thinking that your performance or the way you sing or the way you read your Bible or the way you go and do ministry is going to save you, you are wrong. The only thing that saves you is the fact that God took on flesh, lived a perfect life, died on a cross, rose from the grave, and said to all of you, do you want to come with me? That's it. It's often been said this way: Christianity and the gospel is not about making bad people good people. It's about making dead people alive. So all of the performance that we want to do and just have our religious upkeep and rituals to exclude people, you realize how rotten it is from the core. That's not the priority of the kingdom. It's not how this works. Blessed are those who he brings in. And listen, when you think about who Jesus is going to invite to his dinner, you're going to think it's the Jerusalem who's who. Right? The front cover of Jerusalem GQ. These are the people who are going to show up. No, who does he tell you to invite? The wealthiest people in Red Deer. That's who you're going to invite. The people who have the biggest business or the people who have the most square footage. That's who you're going to invite to your dinner. Isn't that the priority of the kingdom, isn't it? The poor, the cripple, the blind, and the lame. I was listening to this podcast. It was like one of those gym bro podcasts. You know what I'm talking about? Because obviously I go to the gym. I don't like how much you laughed over here. And they're talking to each other, right? And they're like, yeah, and they're saying all these quotes and they're like hyping themselves up. These two like very prominent podcasters who you probably know. And at one point, this guy says a quote to somebody else and says, listen, this is my philosophy in life, bro. He goes, what? He goes, only eat with people that you would starve with. And the guy goes, whoa. And I'm sitting there listening to that podcast and I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You wanna know why? Because if you call yourself a follower of Jesus, then you belong to a man who died because he ate with the wrong people. My question to you is, how often do you eat with the wrong people? See, the passage is haunting, and it's haunting in one way or another because of what it says in verse 11. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. You're missing something there. Let me read it one more time to see if you're going to pick it up. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Did you catch it? You do not get to go through life without being humbled. You just get to choose the order. You hear that? Which means that in life, you will either be humbled by your sin or by the grace of God. That's it. That's the choice that you have to make. Some of you have to make a choice here today. Some of you have to look at your life and what's going on in your soul deep down and go, do I really know him? You have to make a choice. And if it's not strong enough, let me say it this way. You are born looking like your parents. You die looking like your choices. What are you going to choose? Who's invited to your table? Because you're invited to his.